Okay, good evening to the WorldCoin Talk community. Today we have an AMA with BSCBay here to speak about the project. Is the CEO BSC King and BSCBay the dev. So yeah, if we could maybe just start with a bit of your backgrounds in crypto, guys, that'd be great. Guys.
Yeah, I didn't know if the dev was going to start then. Yeah, I'm BSC King, the CEO of BSCBay. Been in crypto since around 2017, 18. Really like the passive income way of the DeFi space. So we've been trying to adapt and evolve that to make it work. And yeah, I'll just pass over to the dev so he can introduce himself and the other members of the team. I think he may be having some issues with his VPN.
Yeah. That's good now. So yeah, like as we mentioned earlier, I'm the developer for BSCBay, and I'll also just touch upon the team as a whole and what are the core principles on which this team is built together. So we are a small team of 5 people who handle everything in-house, right from tech development to devising strategies to partnership collaborations, marketing, everything. So the thing that is common for this team is we all have this startup DNA, and that is how everybody has been brought together, and that is how the team has been structured. So we follow like a key principle that is followed in the startup ecosystem, which is based on the knife theory of startups. So the idea is when you first start a company, you need Swiss Army knife people, people who can do a little bit of everything, people who are kind of like jacks of everything, master of few. And as you get bigger, you need a bunch of kitchen knife people who can do one thing, but they do that really well. So this has been our core philosophy in terms of roles and responsibilities amongst the team, which have been divided into major and minor ones. So the idea is as we move ahead with the exciting journey that lies ahead of us, we would be looking to hire more specialists, looking at specific roles. So the idea is also, crypto is 24/7. So if we have one responsibility just lying with one person, that could, hinder the progress, that could create some issues. So we also want like multiple people to be involved with the different responsibilities. So you have people like giving their expertise in a field, and you also have people learning at the same times about the other things. For instance, I'm personally involved with like the development, with the marketing, with the partnership collaborations. So a bit of everything. So that's the design and how everybody has been brought together.
Great. There's a lot to go through, so I don't know where you'd like to start. You've got the Launchpad, DexPad, token minting, analytics, and liquidity and token lockers. So yeah, it's up to you where you'd like to start about BSCBay.
Are you still having issues there, Dev?
Yeah, I'm good. So yeah, I think just to understand what like BSCBay is all about, I think we need to take a step backwards once, and I would also want to like shed some light on how the idea was brought in together. So whenever people ask us about like how did you come up with the idea or when did you come up with the idea, so people expect that there was like a kind of a eureka moment. So that wasn't particularly true for like BSCBay. So what happened was again, like with everything that's happening globally, with the fiat, like the supply for fiat increasing like crazy over the last 2 years. We all met and like via crypto, and we wanted to do something about it. So we thought like we should be creating something that provides a passive income for the holders, for the investors. So we came up with the idea of reward tokens. And as we looked into DeFi, we found like this is something that's already prevalent in the ecosystem. So we started doing our market research. We started like looking into the existing projects, and we were like obviously amazed and awed with the fundamentals of these projects. But we soon found like there was a big issue in terms of sustainability for these projects, and the key issue came in because they were pivoted on one thing, one key metric, which was volume. So what happens with these? Was happening with these projects was they were reliant on volume as the sole metric for sustaining their rewards pool. So we identified like this key thing and started, brainstorming around it. That how could you pivot away from this? How could you diversify from this? And we simultaneously started looking at the other pillars of DeFi and the necessities within the ecosystem. So that led us to the idea of a launchpad. So as we as we thought like, okay, we should bring these two pillars of DeFi together and couple them in some sorts, then we started looking at the launchpads and started doing our market research around it. And we thought to ourselves like the market is already flooded with a lot of launchpads. So is there something different that we can do? Is there something different that would attract the projects towards BSCBay? So we started looking into it, and we came up with a bunch of things, which I would want to highlight now. So the key thing, like as a project owner, if you go to like a DEX part like PinkSale or Unicrypt, so what happens is like these DEX parts, they charge their fees in the form of the native tokens for the projects. So now what happens is this creates a big sell pressure whenever the projects want to launch the token, because there's no vesting involved, there's no locking involved. So they're basically at the the mercy of these launchpads, because they can dump these tokens at their will. So we have seen actually a few projects which had like strong fundamentals, which had like good marketing, good awareness, but they just went to dust because there was a big dump coming in from the launchpads right at the beginning of the token launch. So what we decided was we are going to be like charging the projects just a one-time fee, and that would be in the form of BNB, the currency that powers the Binance Smart Chain, right? So that's one key thing. The second point that differentiates BSC-based launchpads is, and that is where the beauty of coupling the reward tokenomics and the launchpads come into existence. And this is something that's like really marvelous, really where you start seeing the different parts coming in together. So let's say you were a project owner and you want to launch your own project, and the idea is, let's say you want to raise 1,000 BNB. So for us, the fees is going to be 2% of whatever you raise in the form of BNB. So if you're raising 1,000 BNB, you would be like, we would be charging the projects 20 BNB in this case. So for other launchpads, what happens is this fees that is being charged, that's solely kept by the launchpads because they don't have any reward tokenomics. But what we can do, and where the beauty of the reward tokenomics comes into play, is we can actually give these like projects something in return. So what we do is when we take this 20 BNB as fees, we give them 20 BNB worth of our dividend tokens. Essentially what that does is now it pivots away from the projects paying a fee to rather making an investment, because these dividend tokens, firstly, these are not tradable. You can't buy, you can't sell. It's locked with the projects forever. So these allow the projects to, get USDT rewards every 4 hours. So this is where like the ecosystem starts to flourish. This is the ecosystem where like the two pillars of DeFi, which is the reward tokenomics and the launchpads, start coming in together. The third key thing out here is this 20 BNB that we are charging for like, so for other projects, other launchpads, what happens is they keep it to themselves, right? Out here, what we want to do and what our core philosophy is, we want to like ensure like that people who have put their trust and put their belief in our project, we want to reward them. So what we do is we take this 20 BNB that we got in fees, we take 50% of that and put it back into the USDT rewards pool. 25% we take and do a buyback, and the tokens that we earn from that, they would be burnt right away. And the remaining 25% of the fees, we essentially, that is used by the team for the day-to-day operations. So inherently what we're trying to do out here is we are pivoting away from the volume by making it by making the rewards pools being sustainable with like multiple revenue streams. So you have the volume coming in, you have the fees coming from the launchpad. Then later we'll touch on like more things that more utilities that we want to introduce as well. So the rewards pool essentially is going to be sustained with like multiple revenue streams. It's not like reliant on just one revenue thing. So if the volume dries up, we can still ensure like we have a sustainable and a lengthy rewards pool with which people can get that daily passive income that we are portraying about.
Yeah, you thought it through really well. You also USD rewards, and then the launchpad will feed into that. So if the volume's low one day in the BSCBay buys and sells, then you've still got anything that's launching on your launchpad going into the pot as well, and then obviously buyback and burns, which is great. Seems you've thought it through really well, and yeah, it seems a great idea. Will there be different packages for projects in the launchpad, or is it just set 20 BNB? Well, based on a 1,000 hard cap, obviously, but yeah, 22% of whichever the hard cap is.
Yeah, so it's going to be 2% of the hard cap or whatever they raise. So if a project comes and they are raising 500 BNB, so that's going to be 10 BNB. If somebody's raising 250 BNB, so that's going to be 5 BNB. So it's essentially like 2% of whatever the project is going to raise.
Yeah. On the launchpad, will there be whitelist spots for investors that hold BSCBay? And
yeah, that's okay. So that's a really interesting question, and that's another thing that makes BSCBay really unique, because we are going to be the first project which is going to be having both an IncuPad and a DexPad. So for people who don't know what is the difference between the two, so IncuPad is something like BSC pad CD5, where essentially you have a tier-based system, and DexPad is something similar to like Unicrypt and PengSale, where like anyone and everyone can essentially come create a pre-sale with a few clicks of a button and be ready to go. So the DexPad will allow this whitelist feature. So we have that functionality, and we have actually taken it one step ahead. Just like focusing on this aspect, I would like to detail it, go into like a bit of details. So what we are trying to do out here, like apart from like all the differentiating points that I just spoke about, we are also creating a different UI and UX experience. So what's going to happen is, like, just taking in the instance for the whitelisting that you just spoke about. So I think this is something that everybody who has participated in a pre-sale has like felt, because I personally felt that as well. So if you go to like, let's say you got a whitelist spot for like one of the projects, you go on the pre-sale day and you connect your wallet. There's no pop-up basically which shows that you're whitelisted or not. So that creates that confusion and miscommunication. So you have to go back to the team and ask them, make the confirmation, oh, am I whitelisted? Am I not whitelisted? Or you have to go and download that list, the Excel file, and like manually search into it. So what you'll see on our platform is, as soon as you connect your wallet, it basically shows this thing, whether the wallet is whitelisted, yes or no, then and there. And also you have a search functionality on the platform itself, wherein you want to like search for like whitelisting, like if any other wallet is whitelisted or not. You can just go search it there on the platform itself. It will give you the result back. So we want to make the platform very interactive. We want to make the platform engaging. So another thing that we want to change around with the UI and the UX experience is, if you look at the current state of launchpads, so what you find is a static page. You go and open a pre-sale page for any launchpad. It's essentially a static page. And that's true from like the day the pre-sale is created to the day the pre-sale is conducted. I mean, some of them range for like a couple of weeks, and you still see that same page. And we are living in this social media age, the digital age, and yet we are like confined to these things. So what the idea for us is, we want to like make something analogous to the Facebook wall. We want to make something that's going to be like interactive, wherein the project owners can give out their daily updates, like be it in the form of like messages, be it in the form of tweets, be it in the form of videos. So we would be providing them all the functionalities, and like try to make it a page which is like engaging, rather than just a static page where you just see a bunch of numbers, a bunch of information, and done with it. So the kind of vision is, the vision out here, is also like BSCBay could turn into like a platform where people also like go and like start figuring out, okay, what are the pre-sales that are going about. They can also look into what's happening. So it could essentially become a source of finding the pre-sales. So right now the ecosystem, or the way that you discover it, is kind of tedious, because you have to join so many Telegram groups, you have to go like get that knowledge, follow people. So rather than doing that, what if like all the information lies like within one platform, on one page? You just go, you get all the info, what's happening around the project, what are the updates. You see a few videos, you do your own research, you get the updates. So you're basically spending a few minutes, and you are like, you can make your decision. So it's also the convenience and the accessibility and ease of access that we value a lot, and we would be looking into like improving that.
Yeah,
Now,
awesome. I was just wondering about the USD rewards. It says you need a minimum hold of 200,000 tokens. Will that be adjustable in the contract if the price skyrockets? You can change that to a lower amount. And would that include the Launchpad projects as well? You'd need to hold 200,000 tokens to get the Launchpad rewards?
Yeah, so this is a number that is to begin with. This is taken into account assuming we hit like 2,000 holders. But as the token price increases and the distribution increases amongst holders, we know like the average number of tokens per user is going to go down. So this number is something that is dynamic in the contract. So we would be lowering this number down. So it's going to be pegged against like a value threshold, rather than the number of tokens. I mean, the number of tokens are going to be derived like backwards from the dollar value.
And yeah, you can continue. You was moving on to something there, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to like also speak a bit about the IncuPad and the DexPad, like what would be the key differences for us. So IncuPad is something where like the projects would be vetted, like both internally by us and externally by our partners. So we have already tied up with like a few big corporations. So like the list of partnerships that we have already announced publicly, that includes the KYC and audit companies like SolidProof, OXCard. Then we have a couple of like VC firms, which is like the Herd Ventures, which can help with the incubation of the projects that launch with us. Then we also have like one partnership with FluStrade, which essentially enables people to buy the native tokens on their platform with like Google Pay, credit cards, all of that. So we are like getting into more partnerships. I think BSC King can speak a bit about it later. So what's going to happen with the IncuPad is these projects are going to get access to all these partners. So you have like some, you get like priorities in terms of getting these services from these partners. And this also, gives us the confidence that the project is not going to be a rug. The project is not going to be a scam. So we would be running our internal checks as well. We would be getting into the doxing and everything. We would be understanding the principles with the team, and ensuring, that people, our investors, are essentially safe. So what happens with the IncuPad is the projects, they get access to the pool of investors that are already crypto savvy, that are already looking to invest. And on the other hand, we can provide them the assurance, like our investors, that this is a project that's like vetted both internally and externally by reputable companies.
And you're planning liquidity and token lockers. How will that work for investors, and what's the security you're building around that?
Yeah, so
BSCBay?
Sorry, there's some issue with the phone. So what happens with the liquidity lockers and the team lockers? They are for the project owners, because once you launch a project, one of the key principles and like one of the guiding principles right now is that you need to go and lock your liquidity, just to ensure that you won't do a rug, you won't basically pull it out. So it's the liquidity locker is just going to ensure that. So a project can just come in, lock their liquidity in different schedules, howsoever they want to do it. Similarly, for the token lockers, the team can like either lock it for like a definite period or create a vesting schedule and just like have that locking, and you have that UI, and like you have that UI essentially wherein the average investor can come and check like all the information is correct, and like the timelines that the project owners are essentially sharing with them, it's the same as what's happening out here. So there would be like full transparency, and we would be sharing all this information on our platform.
Just wondering about the Launchpad again. You're going to have token minting as well for projects, so you're going to have contracts that are ready prepared for them to take off the platform, is it? And with the Launchpad, how's it going to work for projects? I forgot what I was saying about it. Yeah, we can go into the token minting.
Yeah, so it's a feature that's going to be there for the DEX part. So essentially, you have things like McDonald's tweeting about like something about crypto, and like then just like the hype goes on, like we saw with the Mongoose coin and all of that. Like Elon Musk creates a tweet, and like people just want to have some fun, and just go ahead and like create some tokens. So what we are going to do is we are going to be providing these set standard templates, which are like audited, so that people don't run into the issues with the contract. So yeah, you can just like go ahead, like fill in a few like numbers, like what's the supply, what's the like the token symbol and all of that stuff, like the basic stuff. They don't have to write like the solidity contract. So you have these standard templates, so people can just like click a few buttons and like create their own tokens. And then if they want to like do a pre-sale, then they can do it on the text pad as well.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask, will you be offering marketing features to projects on the Launchpad as well?
So we won't be offering, like it's in a way. So what we are going to do is we are also, like I just spoke about the partnerships, we are also getting into partnerships with like the marketing agencies and marketing groups, which are again like have a certain reputation in this space, and we know like these guys are like vetted and they know what they're trying to do. So it's also about guiding the projects in a way. It's about what you essentially see with other launch pads is like they just host the pre-sale, and then the projects are just like shoved back into the back alley. So that is not what we want to do out here. We want to like provide them, we want to be with them for like every step of their journey. That includes from guiding them if they want any like advice, any consultancies, or like any knowledge in terms of where they should go. Because a lot of times what happens is like people have these great ideas, but they don't know how to go about in terms of the go-to-market strategy, in terms of the marketing, in terms of spreading the awareness and all of that. So we are going to be like guiding the projects in those aspects as well. And our marketing partners are going to be one key pillar of that.
I can get into partnerships right now if you like.
Yeah. Have you got some partnerships lined up for the Launchpad?
Yeah, so already we've announced Solid Proof, which will be doing audits, KYCs. We've got Flues Trade, so they'll give the ability for the project to have Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit, debit, and also they're moving to cross-chain, so they'll give the ability for those projects to have that on their website. So it's just easy. You don't have to go to the exchanges, etc. You can just buy the native token basically via your own website. So that's really cool. Also Oxguard, they'll be doing the audits, KYCs, Herd Ventures, which will be helping with the incubation of projects, and then SIRS Investment Group, which will be helping with various marketing like AMAs, call out groups, and other forms of marketing. We've got other already sealed deals with partners, and we really want to like get these out there, but obviously we've got to give them at certain points as a marketing strategy, as well as a couple have got just that last little bit, like things have been signed and they just need to be verified, etc. But there is one big one in particular we're excited about. So yeah, then watch out for our announcements for that one. But the really cool thing with these partnerships is there's been no like turn of, okay, you pay me this to say your name. It's been really refreshing when we've told them about our project, like Solid Proof, we're like, this is really cool what you are trying to do here, and we believe in it. So this is the reason that we would want to put projects your way, and we hope that's how you feel about us as well. And we were like, yeah, like we love what you guys do. And they were like, we wouldn't want any money in return. And we said, well, we don't want any money in return. All we want is you to call us because we're a decent Launchpad reward token. So that was really cool. And then we went into the other partnerships. It was the exact same thing. And they were just like, this is nice, because obviously there's some issues with these Launchpads, etc. And we're trying to clean that up and make the projects feel like they're supported. So they'd have open source to this when they launch through us, and it will be at a discounted rate as well. So not only are you making that investment instead of losing your fees, but you get them discounted rates with our partners.
So any projects that come on your Launchpad will get a special deal with Solid Proof and the other companies with audits and KYC services?
Yeah, so obviously if they come through with the different tiers, they'll be opened up to different packages. But we're happy to, if someone needs that help, like it's there, and also the partners are happy for them to come through. We all want these legit projects, so anything we can do to help, we'll be doing it. Like we've seen firsthand like how these Launchpads deal with you, and once they got your fees, that's it. Like the dev said, you're chucked in the back alley and that's it. You're forgotten about it. It's on to the next one. And we don't want it to be like that. We want it to be that you're supported. We don't have your tokens. There's no risk of like dumping and things like that. So that messy transaction is taken out of the way, and you're going to have this investment with us. So it's pretty important to us that the projects that come onto our Launchpad, we want them to do well, because then that shows that they've launched at BSCBay, they've been supported, they've used our connections, and it's worked.
It's awesome that you've got all your partnerships in place before you've even launched BSCBay token. That's great for investors. That's what they like to see. What's the sort of timeline?
There's been a lot of tokens as well trying to already launch with us, but obviously we've a lot of them. There was one, I think it was it yesterday, trying to launch in a couple of hours, and we were like, mate, this would be possible, but he didn't have the KYC, and obviously we've got the Incupad, so that's mandatory that for the Incupad that you've got to have these certain security things in place. But obviously if he was wanting to launch on the DexPad, he could have done that automatically, and then people could have seen what the project had, done their own research, because obviously the DexPad is a higher risk, but that's why we offer the Incupad, and I think that's where a lot of people are going to go for their investments, is the Incupad option.
And I was just wondering what's the timeline for the Launchpad, the DexPad, and the token minting? Is that coming in the near future, or what's the timeline for that?
Yeah, so it'll be around 2 weeks. We've got 3 in-house devs, so I don't think the devs mentioned about the swap either, because that's like a super game changer, especially for the reward side. Dev, do you want to go into that, mate?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of the working product, we already have the Incupad up and running. We just hosted our tier 1 partners only sale on our Launchpad, and it went everything went really smoothly. I think we can just share a small snippet of one transaction as well. So it literally took you 40 seconds to make the transaction, clicking on the link, going to your MetaMask wallet browser, putting in the link, connecting your wallet, and putting in the PNB that you want to invest and getting that like having a successful transaction. So the experience is like something that's paramount and something that's like really key for us. I think if anyone like just goes to the website, they can see like how smooth the flow is, how interactive the platform is. So like the entire ecosystem is going to be built like that, taking into account these small and minimal things which a lot of people choose to ignore. Um, coming to the point that BSC King was just highlighting. So like a few weeks down the line, we are also like, once the DEX pad is out after a couple of weeks on the token launch, we are also going to be launching our own BSC swap. So what this swap is going to do is it's going to change how the functionality works, especially for the reward tokens. So what happens is, um, let's say you have 100 USDT and you want to buy BSCB tokens. Let's say the price is $1. So essentially you get like 100 BSCB tokens for 100 USDT. So now you go onto the Pancake swap and you make this buy transaction, and there is a 10% buy tax. So how the transaction works right now is uh, the Pancake swap, it takes 100 USDT from the user, and it takes 100 BSCB tokens out from the liquidity pool, and it makes a 10% buy tax on the BSCB tokens, and it sends 90 tokens to the user and 10 tokens to the contract. And now what happens is this contract essentially goes and makes a sell transaction, because it needs to convert those native tokens into the US dollars, the USDTs, because that's where the rewards are coming from. So what this does is this creates a sell pressure on the charts. And again, like during our market research, we found like this wasn't like something that like just broke the project like the sustenance on volume did. But it's again something that could hampers the long-term sustainability of the project, because people constantly see these sell transactions which the contract is doing, even though there is a reason for that, there's a logical rationale behind it. uh, but like, yeah, it just creates that psychology and mindset in the head of the investors. So what we are going to do is we're going to like reverse the process. So what will happen now is, let's say you are again that same investor who wants to put in 100 USDT. So now what will happen is, so BSCBay swap, it will take that 100 USDT. It will take only 90 BSCB tokens out here from the liquidity pool, and it will give those 90 BSCB tokens to the user. And what it is going to do is, it's just going to take that 10%. So the tax is going to be charged on the USDT out here, not on the BSCB tokens. And it's going to send those 10 USDT right to the contract. So what this does is this ensures that you don't see those, the sell candles, the sell transactions, which are constantly happening, and the contract does not have to sell in this case. Again, like Pancake Swap, it charges like almost like 0.25% for every transaction as the tax, a part of which is given to the liquidity providers and part of which it keeps. And so any fees that we keep, and again, it's going to be a competitive number. We haven't yet established like what the exact number is going to be, but whatever it is, it's again going to follow the same structure that I explained with the launchpad. So 50% of any fees that's collected from even from the BSCBay swap, it's going to go back into the USDT rewards pool. 25% is going to go and do that buyback and burn, and 25% is something that the team is going to keep for day-to-day operations. So that adds, like a functionality, a utility, and also like sustains, adds another revenue stream for the rewards pool. Another thing that doesn't happen with the DEXs right now is you don't have the functionality of having limit orders. I mean, you have like other platforms where you can go and do it, but this is something that we would be introducing as a functionality on our BSCBay swap as well. So you can essentially go and place in the limit orders as well.
And I've got a DM from an investor's asking a question. I think maybe he missed it because we did touch on this at the start. I think there's 5 people in the core team who wanted to know more about the team.
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, it's a small team of 5 people. We are spread across multiple countries. We are KYC then privately doxed. So the KYC is out there done with solid proof. We are not publicly doxed for obvious reasons. Um, yeah, apart from that, again, the core philosophy is everybody's involved with the different pillars that set up this project. So we have 3 in-house devs. We like to do everything in-house, to the extent possible. And yeah, we are expanding the team right now. So we have already hired a few community mods. We also hired a bilingual mod who's going to be helping us out with the setting up of the Chinese market. So we feel, the Chinese market is something that holds a huge potential out here, and that is something that a lot of projects miss because of the lack of resources out there in the market. So we already have it covered. So we are going to be venturing into it shortly. Um, yeah, there's stuff the Chinese CMC and all of that as well, something that we did not even know till a week back. So we would be listing the project on those platforms as well, just to get more exposure from the Chinese community. uh, yeah, and again, the core mantra for us is quality over quantity, and that's how this team has been structured.
You talked about it there. After launch, what's the marketing plans going forward for BSCBay?
Yeah, BSC King, you want to take that?
Yeah, no issue. So obviously we're trying to create this snowball effect coming up to pre-sale. We know that obviously keeping that foot on the gas once you get that hype is extremely important, because once you get it and you lose it, it's really hard to get back. So yeah, during market research, etc., we've been venturing to all different parts of the world, etc., and that's where we found Chinese CMC and stuff that we didn't know existed. But we've got connections all over the place, so the marketing will be strong. We know this is a big project, so a big chunk is needed on this project to make sure that all the eyes are seeing what we're about, because once we start getting that revenue in, etc., the projects are like, whoa, I'm launching here, but I don't know, I pay the fees, but I'm getting an investment, so that sort of sells itself. So the word of mouth is one thing, but it seems to be as soon as we're in front of the people and they know what we're about, it's like, okay, wow, these guys have got something going on. So the marketing will be on point, like Twitter, YouTube, banners, all the TG stuff, the CMC, everything you can think of, we want to do. So we started planning around a week and a half ago about post launch, because we know how important it is, and we've seen that obviously people do so much on the pre, then they're like, oh, it's time to take a breather. No, it's not. It's time to go even harder. So we've already got that mentality and stuff put in place. I don't want to give away the surprises and stuff, because it's all part of the hype and getting everyone involved. So yeah, we've got it covered.
Yeah, I would still want to quantify a few things,
Yep.
We already have a Twitter influencer which is followed by CZ, who is posting about us. We have some YouTube videos coming out, and we are also going to be doing our own BSC scan, PooCoin ads, and as BSC King mentioned, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of other things involved with it. We don't want to give out everything, but we know how this DeFi works. So everything's going to be it's going to be marketed based on the standard things that you have, like the CMC, CG, DEX tools, all of that, and it's going to be added with the connections that we have in terms of getting the influencers and everything. So it's going to be coupled with multiple facets, and again, we would be also be spreading the awareness to multiple geographies. That's another key thing that we want to do.
There's also some partners big partners as well, that have got big marketing plans for us, adding to the fire. And there's also some partners that we haven't announced yet that have got advertising things going on, and there's spots for us there which have a lot of eyes on. So I think it's going to be cool to see where this goes in the next couple of weeks.
really exciting with the Launchpad rewards for investors. I don't know if any other Launchpads are doing that. I've not heard of any. I'm just wondering, with them rewards from projects launching on the Launchpad, is that sort of going to be locked in for investors for a set time? If you got as big as Pink Sale, DX Sale, would that model maybe change in the future?
I think it's the idea is you need to have that momentum. You need to sustain that momentum. So let's say you hit like you're launching, like 10 projects a day. So you need to just like up the ante. Like obviously it's going to be a normal distribution curve where you see the highs and the lows. But like the idea is, and what we believe is like the standard deviation is not going to be pretty high between the highs and the lows. So we feel like there's not going to be a lot of, like there's not going to be a lot of polarity, a lot of disruption. Like once we hit that steady state, obviously, as we launch, we are going to be quite reliant on the volume coming in from the token to sustain the rewards. We see that happening for like 2 to 3 weeks, which is totally fine given like the other projects that we have seen and witnessed, and given the marketing plans that we have. So yeah, like once you have the steady state of projects coming in, that thing should like sustain the rewards. So I don't think so. Like, so people, there's not going to be any locking of tokens to get your rewards. It's going to be something that's distributed to everyone, like every 4 hours. Just want to like talk about, like, in particular to this question. We also have a feature which creates these like pools in terms of the USDT distribution. So let's say you have one day you have $100,000 in the pool. The next day you have $50,000 in the pool. So what you can do is you can essentially cap it to like $75,000, so that you essentially elongate the timeline for it. So we do have that functionality, and we would be seeing like how we want to use it as the business progresses, as we start seeing volume and the revenue coming in from Launchpads, the swap protocols, and like the other utilities out there.
A rollover feature, so you can smooth out the week going ahead, where rewards are pretty sort of steady.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So you normally get like that massive peak, and then you go into like the development stage, but that's pretty much covered with us anyway. But that feature is really cool, because if you can look at a reward project and you think, okay, I'm going to put this amount in and I'm guaranteed that for this amount of time, it gives you that like the trust, and that your money's good and you're going to be earning that all the time, because you've seen it on reward tokens where you put it in and it's great for the first 2 days or to the week. But if you can sustain that longer, and these people are seeing they're getting this every single day, it invites them to either build their bags and hold. So that's a really cool feature with BSCBay.
Nice, yeah. So we can go into the tier 2 pre-sale whitelist spots, and then I can move on to the team questions and investor questions. We've got a few hands up. So yeah, how the pre-sale work? Whereabouts you have it? Soft cap.
Yeah, so we've got our pre-sale on the 23rd at 6 p.m. UTC. It will be on BSCBay.com. The link is in our pinned. And then we'll move on to the launch on the 24th. So the pre-sale amount will be 800 BNB. It will be 0.5 BNB minimum, 2.5 BNB max, and there's 450 whitelist spots. So if that doesn't fill up with the whitelist spots, it will open to the public, and then we'll move over to the launch.
And how much was raised on the tier 1?
250 BNB.
Great. I can open it up to questions then from the team. If anyone's got a question for the BSCBay team, go ahead.
Yeah, Glenn. Hi. Yeah, I was listening in, and it's super interesting. It's like you guys mentioned, people are doing tokens for Elon tweets. People are building tokens for their cats and dogs and all that. So there's a huge market there to capitalize on, right? And everybody's looking for strong holders, and it looks like you guys are building an ecosystem that can really support this. Now, I only have like a few questions. you touched upon your incubator, and I assume like if some teams actually want to create something more than a custom contract or a custom simple reward contract, I assume you guys can help them along if they want to build extra utilities, like I don't know, like their own staking or anything like that, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we would also be like having like a tech partnership, essentially a company which is going to like be providing tech services, consulting, and like they can just help with the development of the smart contracts. So you want to add in some custom functionalities that can be done as well on top of the standard templates.
Yeah, I
But
assumed
that
as
would
much. When you mentioned the incubator, I assumed as much. Just yeah, just clearing it out. Now, for the tiers that you mentioned, now I was looking at your launchpad and I saw like one of the one of the access types that you had there was partners only, and you also mentioned some venture groups. So will this be sort of like a possibility for people that are choosing your launchpad to say, hey, I don't want to put this forward to anybody else but good trusted venture groups that want to have their tokens vested and all the good stuff? Is that something that you can accommodate for them?
Yeah, definitely. So it's analogous to what we did out here. So essentially, you have a bigger allocation, a guaranteed allocation. You could also do it in the form of a private sale. So we also have that functionality, and that is the reason we are getting into these collaborations and partnerships with the VC firms, because a lot of projects they come in, they know like these are the people who, if they like the project, are going to be like holding the project for like a long run, and that creates that vesting schedule, and like that creates that trust, because there's not going to be any dump, because these guys are not looking for a pump and a dump. They're actually looking for the project in terms of the utilities and like the unique features that it is offering.
Yeah,
So we
that's
have
Also,
it.
the price as well is exactly the same for tier 1 and tier 2.
Yeah, it
Just
sounds super
add that in.
nice. I know like a lot of people will get excited about this. And just the last thing for me, like I know you mentioned on the you want to touch on the social part where your I don't know, individual launch pages is more than just a launch page. I'm guessing. I know there are some launch pads out there that kind of offer like anonymous comments or anything like that, but I think it would be pretty cool if you can actually integrate the social aspect where people say, I don't know, verified Twitters can actually post on that launch page, or people that are, I don't know, influencers for real on any of these platforms, or even people connecting with their wallet, right? Because I know a lot of people like to track wallets. So if a certain wallet comments on that page and it says something, that would be super amazing. And it hasn't been really done in a I don't know, a proper way so far. So if you guys like what's kind of your idea going forward with this, like how do you see it?
Yeah, so we see this page as an interaction between the project owners and the potential investors, because people are coming and checking out the page. They want to understand more about the project, what is happening on a day-to-day basis. So it's like the project does not reveal everything that it has, like up its sleeve, because you have this marketing strategy and the go-to-market strategy. So you have these daily updates which are coming in from the projects. So we want to ensure like the projects get the functionality wherein they can probably have this videos, like a carousel of videos based on the different timelines. So day one they can showcase, okay, like just an introduction from the dev or the team, and then the day two they can basically speak about the new utilities that they want to launch. And again, like everything is engaging. People can come in and just comment it out, like have that flow of interactions basically flowing between the projects and the potential investors. So that is how we are looking at it. It's going to be more than just a page where you just like paste it in your socials, and like people land on it and just wait for the pre-sale timer to be like the countdown timer to hit zero and like go into the pre-sale. That's not the idea. The idea is people should be looking at it in terms of information, in terms of getting to know about what the project is up to, and figuring out the key updates. I mean, imagine you're like getting into a TG group of a project 7 days after it has started its marketing. You would have to go through like, I don't know, hundreds of pinned messages in the TG group. So that is something that could be avoided. So it's essentially sharing a single message snippet, or like just putting everything in a nutshell out there about what is key, what the milestones that the project has achieved, what it is looking at, and giving that information to the potential investors, kind of making an elevator pitch of sorts. So that's the core idea. So it's going to be something like the wall, like the Facebook wall, where the interactions happen. It's going to be engaging. Yeah, that's how we are envisioning it.
Yeah, it sounds great. I know, like, there's not a lot of launchpads that do this, where they allow the teams to come in and post their updates, or to have like all the information there. I mean, yeah, there's the information there about the pre-sale and the tokens and all that. But if the team comes in and says, "Hey, we not only have this, but look at what's coming up, and here's a little update from here and there," and then that gets the conversation going. And it's like you said, you don't have to scroll through Telegram pins and Discord channels and all that to get your information. You can get it all in one go. Like, sit there for half an hour, get everything you need, and make an informed decision. So yeah, I think it's great, guys. Yeah, thank you. That was all from me, gang.
Thank you so much for that question, for those questions.
Thanks, man.
Right, great. We can open it up to investors in a second, but I've got one more question DM'd to me. So there's lots of DMs tonight. He was asking that he really likes the idea of the DEX pad, and he's wondering if there's any charges involved there. Is it BNB or in your token, and where would the funds and the profits go from that?
Yeah, so every structure is going to follow the same, like the fee structure and the reimbursement structure. So essentially, either you launch on the Incupad or either you launch on the DEXPad, there is going to be just one-time fee, which is 2% of what you raise. Now, we definitely expect the projects which are launching on Incupad to have a bigger raise amount. So we are looking at them at, like projects which want to raise, let's say 500 BNB to 1000 BNB to like 2000 BNB. Because these are going to be like projects with custom contracts, with added utilities, with unique features. Whereas if you have like meme coins and all of that stuff going on the DEXPad, we are looking at, the quantum is going to be lower over there. So we don't want to like have a fixed rate. Like we want to, let's say, go and charge like 10 BNB to everyone, because that's going to be unfair. Hence, we wanted to keep it as a percentage of what the project raises or the hard cap. So it's going to be a flat 2% fee for every project that launches with us. And also, like, I just want to take this opportunity to tell everyone that the first 10 projects that launch with us are going to be charged 0 fees. So that's kind of a marketing thing for us. So we want to like spread the word. We want projects to like come and like interact with the platform, get that feel of the platform, get that user experience in. And we know like once that is done, it's just going to become like a word of mouth thing, because we have seen like how smooth the platform is. And like even in the previous AMAs, we were looking at it and the guy was like just like losing it over like how smooth the flow was. And in terms of the redistribution, and in terms of the redistribution of the fees, so any fee that is collected, any revenue stream that is collected, so 50% of that is going to go to the rewards pool. 25% is going to go and do a buyback for the BSCB token. So that ensures, you have these healthy charts, and that's another incentive for people to hold the token for the longer run. And whatever tokens we get with this buyback, they would be burnt like then and there. So that also creates a token as a deflationary token. And the remaining 25%, that's going to be kept with the team for the day-to-day operations.
That's great. Yeah, we started AMAs free, and we had like 5 people in the AMAs back in July last year. So yeah, the Launchpad offering the first 10 projects, no fees, and then you've built up that success, and projects are doing well, and and word of mouth will spread. That's a great idea as well. So I can open it up to investors. Let's have a look here. G Benga, you had a question. The BSCBay team, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, mate.
Hey, brother. That's nice. I've listened to you. We have been hearing me since all this while. It has really been a great one. And thanks for the well coin talks. It's actually a nice one. I just want to ask, would there be an avenue for investors to buy coin on your platform, or it is only available at PancakeSwap? And with respect to your application, I see something like, or I'm thinking maybe you guys have planned for mobile app. it might not be now. I don't know. Maybe you guys will have plans for mobile application for your for your projects.
Yeah. So
Maybe
firstly,
sooner or
obviously,
later.
we're already partnered with Flustrade, so that's already sorted and ready for launch on ours on our website. So you can just go to the website and you can buy direct from there if you use credit, debit, Google Pay, Apple Pay, or you can buy through PancakeSwap. We will also, I don't think it's been touched upon, down the road, we'll be opening it up not just to BSC as well. We want to venture into the other networks as well for launches.
Okay, fantastic.
And the app as well. Maybe the dev can comment on that.
Okay. Will it be the same tag on PancakeSwap and your website? Will it be the same?
Yeah, it comes out of the same liquidity pool. I think there's like a 0.01 or 0.1 difference, but it's not noticeable. I think that also that 0.01 goes into the token, so you're still supporting the token no matter where you buy it. But obviously you can gauge that yourself when it launches, if you can get a better price on either one. But you shouldn't really notice the difference because it's all coming out of the same liquidity.
Great. And we've got a question. Aisha, you've got a question for BSCBay. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going through BSCBay white paper, and it's mentioned that top projects created on BSCBay will be rewarded with BSCBay native token. I was wondering, will there be any ranking list of projects which are created on BSCBay so other users and investors can also see that which projects are at the top and doing well?
So they won't be rewarded with the native token. They'll be rewarded with the dividend. So that stops them buying, selling, or transferring that dividend. It will stay with them forever until, obviously, if they've ever done something that's bad to the space or their investors, etc., then that reward will be cut off for them. But it's just the dividend. So there's no worries of them dumping on our charts, and we don't have their tokens. So there's no worries of that. Dev, don't know if you wanted to touch on the other point.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, you would be having these so there would be a ranking in terms of the highest that the individual projects incur. So let's say that you have multiple projects, a project at like 100x, a project at like 150x or like 50x. So we would be having these like leaderboards kind of a thing, wherein we would be showcasing the projects that have performed exceptionally well. So that's also kind of showcasing the kind of projects that BSCBay has invested into and basically conducted a successful pre-sale, not just a pre-sale, but like also a successful launch in terms of getting the project forward. So you would be having these different tiers where you can see, what are the upcoming projects, which are the ongoing pre-sales, and which are the ones which have already been closed. So all the data is going to be there. In addition to that, there is going to be a ranking in terms of a leaderboard where you can basically go and shuffle and see, okay, which are the best performers. Like, I don't know about the worst performers, but like we'll definitely have the best performers.
Okay.
Also, that fits into like the analytics and stuff that will be up on the website. So there's going to be other forms of revenue coming back to the pools and the buybacks, etc. Because you've got like it even says in the roadmap as well about play to earn gaming and things like that. So we know there's going to be a lot of traffic on our website, so there'll be advertisement spots as well, and the profits will be split exactly the same. So there is a lot of incentives to hold this token, unlike what we've seen in the past of getting that token, making a 0.5x and getting out. This is like you're investing into a utility token that's really going to pay you from not just the volume, but you're going to be taking a share of them profits from everything.
Okay, that's great. That will be really useful. Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Thank you.
We're running out of time here, but we'll take one more question off Syed. You had a question for BSCBay? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Glenn. So I was reading your white paper, and you also mentioned about it that BSCBay will not only launch safe project for investor, but also determined to make each project success by offering different services like marketing support, technical development, and funding support, etc. I want to know that will these support services be only provided to the gold or platinum tires holder, or all tires holder will be able to get these services? It's these services are for incubator launchpad, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So these services essentially come in the form of the external partners that we have. So we would be providing the access for these partners to the projects that like choose our Incupad. Yeah, that's how the differentiation, and that's one of the key reasons why we would want the safe projects to come to the Incupad and tap into the existing pool of investors. And yeah, like you have these checks, you also guide them through their journey, and you essentially do your own internal checks around, okay, the fundamentals are in place, the team is strong, they know what they are doing, and you just essentially guide them via like providing the best practices and the best avenues to like look into when you're like talking about the DeFi ecosystem and how to like propel forward into that.
So they will be available to all tire holders, or only the platinum or gold tire holders, these support services?
No, these services are for the projects which come and launch on the Incupad. This has nothing to do with the investors, right? This is something that's
Okay.
pertaining to the projects.
Tires are only for investors rather than projects.
So the tier system is for the investors. So
Okay,
based on how many tokens you're holding, you would be given like a tier allocation.
got
So you have like the bronze, the gold, the platinum, and all of
okay.
that. So there
Okay,
is a
okay, okay.
guaranteed allocation over there. But like these services that I just spoke about, that you spoke about, the marketing services, the audits, the KYCs, the VC firms, right? Like the investors don't have anything to do with this. The projects are which are going to basically be using these services and tapping into them. So these services are
Okay.
focused for the projects that come and launch on the Incupad.
Okay, we got it. All the launchpad have these tires for investor for projects as well. So I thought they are for projects. Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that
Great.
question.
If anyone's listening back to the recording, we can get you safely over to the official BSCBay Telegram. And anyone who's got a question in the VC tonight, we can get you over there. Do you have the VC open often for people to ask questions?
Yeah, I'll be opening it up. If not, any mods that are in here can go and open that up now too.
It's been great talking to BSCBay and BSC King. You seem to have everything in place, and it's very professionally done. So it's exciting for our investors, and you've got USDT rewards in the token volume as well as through the launchpad. So that's something exciting for investors, definitely. So thank you very much for coming tonight. It's been a great AMA, and I wish you all the best with the pre-sale and launch.
Thank you very much, mate. I just wanted to close out with, obviously there's a lot of information that's been given, but if you want to just look at it in a nutshell, if you look at like the biggest reward token that's out there right now, and they still have those issues of like the contract selling with giving you those rewards, we're sorting that. Then you look at the DexPad, you look at like Pink Cell, it's massive, it's launching 30 projects a day at least. So we're ironing out all of the issues that's going along the DexPad side. And then you look at the Incupad, and you've got projects like BSCPad, etc. And we're ironing out issues there as well. So if you add them all in together, that's BSCBay. So this is a really big project, and you need to just take that time to sink all of that in. And we'll look forward to having you guys over at BSCBay. And thank you very much. Well, chat talk, it's been really good. So thank you for hosting us.
For coming, I think we've got spin the wheel now.